Good morning. On what is an overcast but relatively mild day, it is Saturday, the 11th of December. I'm back in the reading nook with Kat, who is not ours, who has thankfully settled down, and a nice hot cup of tea. And from this, the height of this stack, a big pile of parcels to go through. So let's work my way down. So grab the knife. Oh yeah, okay, so we're going to do this one first. Okay, just get hold of a little piece of... And what I'm going to pull out of this is Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD Luna-1 source book, basically written, written by Andrew Peregrine, Richard August, and see who the other author is, John White. So, okay, so this is a supplement for Judge Dredd the Worlds of 2000 AD, which, and it was published by N Publishing, using the Wine, What's Old is New system, basically you're rolling 3d6 to get, or more 6 dice to get a target, as far as I recall. And this is a supplement for basically a license that the publisher has just recently lost, which is disappointment, because one of the great things about the license that N Publishing had was the fact that they weren't. If you do generally, what you do if you have a license, you'll do like a core rulebook. You do a scenario, and then you do source books on particular locations. Okay, and then might support that location with some scenarios. N Publishing, and with Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD did something different, because they went into the Judge Dredd canon, and they looked at the stories, and they based the supplements on the stories. Okay, which is a great way to do it, because if you go back into 2000 AD history, and you're all the way back to 1977 and onwards, you look at 2000 AD, and there have been some absolutely fantastic stories over the years. Saga of the Cursed Earth, basically the wars between Mega City 1 and the Sov Block. Let me see what else. Saga of the Death Judges, and all of those, really fantastic stories, full of invention and ideas, and great artwork. And this is one of them. So let's have a look. On the lunar frontier, only the strong survive. Judge Dredd's world extends beyond the borders of Mega City 1. The moon provides new challenges to judges, perps, and citizens who choose to escape the claustrophobic city blocks and make a life for themselves amidst the oxygen-short, crowded and lawless expanse of the Luna-1 colony. Get assigned to the moon to keep the peace as judges in the Lunar Marshal campaign, or deal with a criminal gang in the frontier town of Grey Rock as civilians and perps in Sundance Rising. With expanded rules for Lunar characters, new judge careers including the Lunar Judge, Zero Squad, and non-judge careers such as the Loony Cultist and Gunslinger, in-depth descriptions of Luna-1 and the surrounding areas, as well as the Titan Penal Colony, and summaries of more of Judge Dredd's early case files. This supplement is an essential addition to Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD role-playing game. It requires the use of the Judge Dredd and Worlds of 2000 AD core rulebook. So there we go. So this is one because the license has been lost, I had to track this one down on eBay. So it's a little bit slightly battered. That's fine. Didn't help by the fact that the postman decided he would fold the part to get it through the book. So inside full colour, but the thing about this is Judge Dredd hasn't always been in full colour. It used to be in black and white. Some of the best artwork is in black and white. There's no bones about it. So, we have a lot of illustrations like this, because obviously the source book is drawing from a particular storyline and period during the comic strip. basically there are almost 3,000 issues, and you look at that, there we go, there's this typical artwork of Judge Dredd, just the amount of detail that goes into one panel, and they just do this week after week. It's the longest running weekly science fiction role-playing game. So we open up, we've got Luna-1 describing what it is, some history and Luna-1 locations. So, you know, for example, we've got the Apollo territory, one of the oldest, prosperous and most populated territories. Apollo territory boasts many businesses and amenities, though the crime cartel entrenched here is well established and holds territory-wide influence. Apollo's location, facing towards the Sol City's territories, means it's the targets of schemes to annex it from Luna-1. And then we've got three Apollo territory adventure seats. So, basically, quick description and a thumbnail description, and then you've got adventure seeds as well, and then events like land race, again drawing upon the original source material. And in many cases, a lot of this, I mean, basically the authors have gone back and dug into it and had a great time digging into it, I'm sure, and rereading those stories because they're so good. But these stories are 40 years old, so a lot of people coming to this won't know them, so they'll be fresh. So then we go into the making a living, and we've got new judge careers, like Luna Judge, because essentially what you do when you create a character in Judge Dredd the Worlds 2000 AD, you basically put them through sort of like a series of terms. You know, and you've got new civilian careers like space crew, corporate executive, exploits and so on, so Vidva presenter and so on, which all makes for a different style of campaigns than you typical Judge Dredd campaign. And we've got basically another piece of great art, but that looks like Brian Bolland at a guess. And Brian Bolland's a fantastic artist, and that just basically that shows you basically a shot at the Olympics, basically with a solve block, basically athletes entering the stadium as they do at the beginning of the ceremonies. Yeah, and then we've got chapter 3, the local loonies. So we now go on to the sort of like the perps and citizens that the player characters might encounter. Such as, let's have a look. We've got Call Me Rowena, a domestic droid loyal to a Mr. Widow Spock, a settler owns a flapjack plot in the Von Braun territory. I mean, just you know, fun NPCs the player characters can encounter. Okay, so lots of NPCs here, ranch hands, robo mules. So in effect, what we've got is like the lunar surface is sort of like as a wild frontier, a sort of new Wild West. And we go into Moonage Daydreams, where we have talking about adventures on Luna and what you can do. And one of the things, this is just the great things about it is just the feel of the comic and the tone, the sort of satirical elements. It means basically just have a look at that. You know, basically robots saying, you know, it has come to my attention that your oxygen bill is now 2 months overdue. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to terminate your supply, Mr. Smith. Terminate? You mean cut me off? But you can't. So we've got lots of adventure ideas in here, and basically whether or not you want to use Dread, and then we go into actual proper scenario, the Lunar Marshal campaign, you know, basically covering the arrival, bringing the law, keeping the peace, and the idea of it, like, you know, having a bit of a frontier setting is enforced with images like that. You know, you've got the marshal, the frontier marshal, sort of like a Texas Ranger sort of look, and he's from basically, it will be from Tech City, one of the big blocks in megacities in the setting. And then we switch to now the Judge Dredd characters of the fun. This section offers an adventure for perp or civilian characters. The Sundance Rising. Basically, potentially referring to the film festival of the same name, but I can't say that for sure. And then essentially. We now look at essentially ideas and adventures that we draw directly from the Judge Dredd comic, and this is basically essentially this is supplement 2 after the Robot Wars. I'll get a copy of the Robot Wars soon. So lots of adventures in here. Just again, accompanied by this great artwork. And of course, unfortunately, what it means is that later on, a lot of this, you won't see the full colour artwork that Judge Dredd got later on. Because typically, Judge Dredd would occupy the middle of the the issues of 2000 AD. So it would get like the 2-page spread in the middle will be full colour. Often that will be dedicated to Judge Dredd. But I mean, it would be a cover up to other characters and strips in there too, but Judge Dredd was the most common one. So yeah, and then looking at the part of the Looney, we've got equipment lists. Okay, and again, the great thing about this, I love it. 2000 AD always kind of lampooned 20th century culture. So we have basically the crooks disguised as film stars of the 20th century. Yeah, so lots of equipment in here, stuff like that. And appendix deals with Titan. Titan in the 2000 AD in Judge Dredd is the penal colony, typically where judges who break the law are sent along with the worst criminals. And we've got actually Titan careers, Titan guards, Titan Moon convict, and so on. And then we've got NPCs of Titan. So you've got Rico Dredd, who is Judge Dredd's brother in here, listed with full stats. Unfortunately, no illustration. I think it's a bit disappointing. So that's my one grumble just on a browse through. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. I mean, I'm a fan of Judge Dredd. I've read a lot of the classic strips and really enjoyed them, and I'd read them again happily. But yeah, I will dig into this, give it a proper review, because obviously one thing you can do now is still use this as source book material for your Judge Dredd campaign, whichever version of the rules you're using. Because essentially this is the Judge Dredd the Worlds of 2000 AD is essentially the 4th Judge Dredd role-playing game to be published, because you've got the original for Games Workshop, then you've got the D20 system version from Mongoose, then the Mongoose Traveller version for Judge Dredd, which is the one which I quite like. And then you've got the one from N Publishing. All of them have their pluses and minuses. You know, you could actually have an interesting discussion about which ones you like and why they are good. Anyway, so yeah, that's Judge Dredd Worlds of 2000 AD Luna-1 supplement. If you're interested at all in doing any Judge Dredd role-playing game, track this one down, because it's going to go out of print and you're not going to find a copy. Anyway, thank you once again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. Hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, please do click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you posting those, and I do take the time to read them. And then lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with some boxes and a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a cat who is not ours and a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing of the Nook. Bye for now.